All right, Algebra 2 students, we're going to jump into Section 7.3. Section 7.3 is all about graphing polynomial functions, and there's a few different characteristics of the polynomial function that we'll need to figure out to help us graph, and the first of that is the y-intercept. We've done this in most of our chapters here. How do you find a y-intercept? Well, you plug 0 in for x, and we solve for y. Seems easy enough, as long as we can do some pretty simple math. To be honest, if the function is in standard form, like number 2, it's actually a little bit easier than when it's in factored form, like number 1 and number 3, but we'll do an example of both here anyway. So I'm going to plug in 0 here for all of my x's. And all I'm going to do here when it's in factored form, we're just going to use our order of operations. So we'll do the operations that are in the parentheses first, and then really we're just going to be multiplying some numbers together. So we'll have 2, we'll have 1, we'll have -3, we'll have -1. If you multiply all of those together, you will get y equals +6. So that means the y-intercept at 0, 6. Do an example here of one written in standard form. The reason it's easier in standard form, it's very obvious to see what terms will go to 0. If I plug in a 0 for all of these x's, those terms are all just going to turn to 0. So basically when a polynomial is given in standard form, the y-intercept is always just the constant. But we'll do the work here just to show you how that works. Plug in 0 for x, plug in 0 for x, plug in 0 for x. We multiply, we square 4, when we, take 0 to the 4th power, we get 0, multiply by 4. All of these will turn into 0. Like I said, our y-intercept then would be just the constant, or in this case, 0, 1. Okay. All right. Last example. Plug in 0 for x, again in factored form. The good thing here is we really have, anytime we have an x as part of our GCF out front, 0 times any of these numbers, because we're just going to be multiplying whatever numbers come from it, is just going to give us 0. 0 times anything is 0. Our y-intercept is 0, 0 in that case. What we'd like you to do is to try to locate the y-intercept graphically down here at the bottom. Match each one to one of the functions given in either number 1, number 2, and number 3. Check your answers with your teacher before you move on to the next online practice or notes video.